Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fun-filled edition to Those Drunk Geeks, the show where we love all things geeky and are here to bring you the very best in drunken entertainment. Tonight, your geeks with the drinks are... We got Jay Steffington. He's our high-maintenance geek who loves correcting people, also known, a.k.a. The Corrector.
I would like to point out that that's not exactly right. No, I'm just kidding. You got it right. Yeah, that's all right.
That's what I thought. Next up on our list, he's one of our favorites. He's our resident mainstreamer. We got him for all our Apple and sports needs. His name is RW.
OMG, GG, all of those hashtags. I'll be bringing to you live tonight.
He is also our main Twitter content creator. We love to have him here every time. Both these guys are our favorites. We'd like to thank all of you so much for being here with us on the air. Now, before we jump into anything as far as news for what we have for you this evening, we'd like to tell you what we're drinking, because this is Those Drunk Geeks. We do love a little alcohol.
A little
Tasty.
Whatever we do.
For all those Game of Thrones geeks out there, we all know.
I'm one of them.
We are all one of them. Actually, just a quick topic. I just got Jay Steffington into Game of Thrones, and he watched all 3 seasons that just finished in about 3 days. I'm not joking.
Oh my god.
I would like to correct you on this point. It wasn't exactly 3 days.
An accumulated time of 3 days.
Oh, well, yeah, it was probably an accumulated
So
time.
I introduced him to Game of Thrones, and I was so excited to rewatch the whole series with this guy. And he just sat down on his days off and watched every episode without any friends, alone.
I mean, I was sick. Up. I was homesick. Like, what are you going to do except turn on some Game of Thrones? And I got to say, being a major, like, English nerd and major, literature buff, I would consider myself. They're awesome.
It's a very good show.
I appreciate the turn on to that.
RW, you haven't seen the show yet, have you?
No, well, I feel like the odd man out. I've actually seen season 1.
Only season 1.
And that's it. That was when we had HBO Go on there, and we actually had the account where I could watch it anywhere, but then we lost it, so I feel a little left out here.
You should. It is definitely something that you need to pick up on. But hey, since I couldn't with Steffington over here, RW, I'd love to rewatch the show with you and actually have some fun doing it.
I'll bring the popcorn.
Yes.
Sound
hey,
good.
I'll bring the drinks and we can do it again.
No, you're not invited.
I'm down to do it again.
We don't want you there. You're going to correct everything about it, and we don't want that.
I don't correct things that much. Wait, I just corrected you about correcting.
Yes, you did. Well, okay, back onto the topic of the drink. Tonight's drink for this episode, is Dragon's Blood. Oh man, is it delicious. It does not sound as horrendous as the name insists. Dragon's Blood insists of 2 shots of vodka, 1 shot of triple sec, 3 shots of cranberry. We put it together. It needed some tweaking, which is the ingredient list that you just now have. We did find another ingredient list online of what it was. Was not that good. This is a much better rendition of what this drink can consist of.
Now you mean cranberry juice.
Cranberry juice.
For all the ones who can't follow.
Don't take a shot of cranberry.
No.
Like just the actual berry.
We want 3 parts cranberry. Did I say 3 shots? I did say 3 shots. I am sorry, viewers of the internet.
Viewers of the internet.
I will fix that for you. Oh, my bad. Let me take a sip here, just for you. It's actually very easy to drink once you have this recipe down. Like I said, the recipe that we gave you guys is the one that's very cleaned up. It's much better to drink. It's not as... You don't do the ooh phase as after drinking the first sip at all. You don't go, ew, oh my god.
Yeah,
wow, I don't think I can drink a full glass of that.
The first one was like the dragons were like drinking urine and then giving you their blood. Right. That's what I felt about it.
I could see that.
I don't need to even use a straw, to be honest with you. You two are just, sipping it.
We like straws. Mine's yellow.
Mine's red.
Like a little girl.
Yeah, I don't know why you took your straw out. That's very interesting.
Well, I don't want, because I take a sip and then it splashes all over the computer.
Do you feel like more of a man? Is that what it is?
I do, actually. It's very manly when you don't have a straw in there.
I'm
trying to keep my man card, okay?
It's there.
Slowly dwindling away after I just got married. So.
If you have the stuff to make one of these, hit pause, Go make it. And we'll be right here waiting for you, of course. Come back, join us. We're not going anywhere. Obviously, if you hit pause, you have full control of what we are doing right now. Not really. You can only really play and pause right now.
Some say you might be God.
Almost. You folks out there.
Recording.
All right, if you're back, I hope you have a drink. Pull up a chair. Come join us with a drink. Let's get inebriated here. Because right now, we're going over news topics for the evening. I wanted to talk to you guys.
Topic number 1.
Topic. Thank you. First topic for the evening. Let's see. We have a lot of stuff going on from E3. Last episode, if you joined us, I was kind of in defense of what the Xbox was doing because they pulled out a huge stopper. Initially, they said that they were gonna lock down their system like no other. And they pulled that back, and I thought it took some huge huevos to come out and say, hey, sorry, we were wrong. But still, the internet fucking hates them for it right now, and it's pretty nuts. And one thing that they did come out with that really actually pushes my buttons for even defending them was they're not going to come out with a headset with the system, but they are changing the headset port on the controller. So none of your old Xbox 360 headsets are going to work with the new Xbox One. So not only is it $100 more than the PlayStation 4, they're forcing you to buy a new one because they say that the Kinect is good enough. Now, I don't know, have you guys played Xbox Live with anybody using the Kinect as their microphone instead of a headset?
No, not in the recent past.
No. I'll tell you right now, it's fucking horrible.
I've been old-fashioned, and of course I've used the old...
You like old-fashioned, see?
I do, a lot.
It's one of my favorite drinks, actually.
But I've used the classic... I mean, that's really what made Xbox Live popular. They had the standard headset,
right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, the standard headset, very basic mic, simple to the one-ear headset, and it worked perfectly. I mean, you couldn't get it any more basic than that. So I haven't. What you're bringing up to me is actually news to me.
Okay.
And I haven't heard of.
That's a good.
So what are you saying exactly? The old ones won't work, so it's not backwards compatible with the old ones.
With the old headsets, right? They're saying that they created a new jack, saying that it's going to sound clearer, but they're not including it with the system because since they're including the Kinect, that is good enough for Microsoft.
So, and here's what really chaps my ass. So, I already spent I don't know how much on this headset. I bought like a really
Who says that? Who says that, by the way?
I do. Jay Stuffing. I bought this like really nice headset for the Xbox. I mean, I was expecting like to get my Halo on and all this kind of stuff, and so I got like, a $40 or $50 headset. That's $40 or $50 of my hard-earned money that I put into this headset. And now, if I were to invest in this Xbox One system, that thing, it's obsolete.
Right.
I lose my money.
That's right. And it just bugs me that if they're going to force you to change it and then they don't give it to you when that's kind of their huge draw is them saying Xbox Live is better than PlayStation Plus and that's why you can come over. But okay, if you game with anybody using a Kinect, we all generally have either one, loud TVs, or two, surround sound. And you're generally, when you're playing online, you're going to want to turn that up. You're going to want to hear everything that's going on. If you turn it up and you have a Kinect, your Kinect is pulling in all the sound that's happening in your living room. And that includes your television of everything, all the explosions that's happening. So you're supposed to be playing online with your friends, but instead of playing online with your friends and talking to them, talking about strategy or whatever shenanigans you guys are talking to your friends about online, you're hearing their television and all the explosions and everything that's going off on their end of the game, and you end up muting them, which kind of moots the whole point of even gaming with your friends to begin with.
I was under the impression that I just feel like the Kinect should be more of a party atmosphere rather than an online type of device.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like if I'm online, typically it's myself or a guest, but usually myself with my headset, and then I'm yelling through the mic at the friends to grab the flag and bring it back rather than trying to do donuts in the warthog. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Whereas with the Kinect, you're doing
I don't
Dance
understand What's that?
Whereas the Kinect, you're doing like Dance Central and
Exactly.
Fruit Ninja and shit.
Exactly,
In your living room.
and you're more yelling at the top of your lungs with the Kinect.
Right.
You know, when you can just speak normally on the headset
even if
mic.
anyone's even hearing you, that's if like you're assuming that nobody's muted you already.
Right. My question is, you said it's a new port on the controller.
Right.
So, does this have any better quality
Yes,
than the old one
they
before?
did say that it's supposed to be way better quality than the original Xbox.
Yeah, of course they're going to say that, though. I mean, what is it? It's a contact. They've been using the same microphone systems forever. There's a stereo
Not
mic,
necessarily.
a
I
mini
mean,
jack.
before they were only kind of limited by how much the hardware could handle as far as
Yeah.
data being transferred wirelessly through a controller. I mean, obviously they can get a little bit better over time, granted, but now they're forcing people to kind of pay $20, $30 extra plus
40
tax.
or 50 in my
40
case.
or 50, even if you wanted a little bit nicer one, maybe. They haven't really released pricing yet on the new ones, but they're still forcing people to dish out extra cash just to have the clarity of Xbox Live and having to do that. So not like I was saying, like not only is their console $100 more expensive because it's included with the Kinect, and they're not offering an alternative for that for being cheaper and matching the PlayStation 4, but they're
What are
not
those-
giving you the headset, and
what
they're
are those
saying,
poor
"Oh, the
college
Kinect's good enough."
children?
Yeah, sure. So it really pisses me off that I defended them, saying, "Hey, they went out on the limb and said, hey, we're bad, and you shouldn't kick them to the curb for that." And now they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're not doing this for you guys anymore," which made us awesome to begin with. So
Does it chap your ass?
I don't know if it chaps red.
Enough for your damn
You know, when
chaps.
it comes
Go
out,
put it upstairs.
you're
in the
going to be our
closet.
purveyor of chapping ass.
God.
I would love to see you tweet all about that.
So when does the Xbox One when is it supposed to release?
We're looking at November
This year?
Yes.
Okay, and since it was originally announced, how many times have they changed what
couple
was
times.
announced?
A couple
times.
Yeah.
So if there's enough public outcry for this now headset, do you think they'll go ahead and change that too?
I think
Provide
so,
one?
but what I've been reading on a lot of the forums online of just gamers, and because you can say whatever you want on the internet without getting any sort of backlash and people just go on there to hate, is the damage, it sounds like has already been done. It sounds like so much stuff has already been done that people feel so betrayed. The only thing that really holds me back to Xbox is the controller, because you can't really get better than the controller that they've already created. Even though the PlayStation has made improvements on their controller, I still will probably buy a third-party PlayStation controller just to make it more like the Xbox with the swapped D-pad and thumbstick.
Well, and that reminds me kind of like what you had posted on the Facebook about the breakup letter to Xbox. I mean, it's kind of how all fans seem to be saying. I have been an avid Xbox user for a long time.
Right.
Long time. I actually had a PlayStation 3, and it broke, and I didn't bother to fix it because my Xbox satisfied my every need. But now it's kind of like all the people in the Xbox box are just completely abandoning that. And it seems to it seems to be just because, look, they've made these promises, then they've reverted back on things, and it's just not exactly what you want to see from a company
I
that
think
you've invested
what their
money.
idea is, I mean, I think they had a good idea, but it's just the fact that they're forcing players to go this way, which this needs to be a gradual change for what they're going towards anyway. I don't think they can really jump into it. But yeah, if you haven't read it yet, somebody on the internet posted a great breakup letter. I don't know if you guys have ever broken up with a significant other over a written letter, but this one is it's pretty hysterical. You need to read it. It's on our Facebook. Go check it out. We'd love to hear what you guys think too. What do you think? Are you guys thinking Xbox? Are you guys thinking PlayStation 4? What's holding you to either one? Is it price point? Is it controller? Is it the games? Is it the exclusives? Tweet us at Those Drunk Geeks. Follow us on Facebook. Let us know. Leave us some comments. We'd love to hear what you guys think. Either way, I'm still on the ball that says gamers win no matter what. So moving on to our next topic.
Topic number 2.
Number 2.
RW.
RW. You guys, it's not George W. It's RW. G-Dub. RW.
True that.
True that.
So this is almost a introduction to you all there. I guess my biography, my background. I'm more of an advocate for Apple and
Why
Apple
is that
products. Why is that?
Yeah, what pulls you towards Apple more towards anything else out there?
Well, I think it was what I grew up with in high school and whatnot. I was in journalism.
Were you one of those kids where you came into the classroom and you had a Macintosh to play on and not a PC?
I was very fortunate to have me go to a school that received lots of grants, and they used them more on Macs than anything else because the utility is a lot, or not utility.
Well, do you think it's more because it's child friendly?
Are you calling me a child?
No, I'm saying you're child friendly.
Okay. It's just
Do you
the
think
ease
that's
of
why schools
use
use it?
and just the user interface is something that I can't, because I received a PC at a friend, take my graduation money and be like, let's build you a PC. And I was like,
Right.
all right, cool. Had to worry about,
Okay.
buying antivirus software and whatnot. But once I went back to the Mac, it's just made my use and creativity and just overall, surfing the web and stuff just a lot easier. So I just feel like overall general use, I'm just used to it, and it's just
Okay.
All
All right, well, just from an avid PC user, and I understand the allure of Macs, I usually, when people ask me for being a geek, should I go Mac or should I go PC, I generally explain it to them this way. It's kind of, if you buy a Macintosh, it's like buying a sports car off the lot. If you buy a PC or if you build a PC, it's like kind of getting a custom hot rod where you can do a lot more stuff with it. And you can kind of customize it any way you want to. Whereas the sports car, you can kind of, if anything breaks, you bring it back to the dealership and they fix it. Everything's kind of designed for each other. And it's generally the best analogy I can give people where they're going to be like, oh, I can see that now, because everyone's bought a car. I mean, not everyone, everyone's kind of on the edge. I mean, a car is kind of symbolic.
not a lot of people are hot rod enthusiasts
Exactly.
and have the time and energy to
Right.
take that apart and things like that. So
Right.
to play devil's advocate, you have to look at the
I do.
general.
I do look at it both ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just, and I've just looking at all the industries out there when it comes to media and the creation of photography and movies and music, they do seem to have the upper hand. So that's my my reasons. So, but anyway, what I wanted to, topic number 2. I usually like to. I'm sure everyone out there is has a iPhone product. I like to.
Everyone, are you sure about that?
I hope so.
You're
I
one
feel
out
a
of
little-
3 people here who have an iPhone product.
I'm the minority here when it comes to that. But the majority of people that I know,
The masses. The
masses.
The mainstreamers, which is why you are a mainstream geek.
Most of us white people.
thank you for adding that. I want to contribute to every show if I can. Just an app that I'm looking at right now and that I find very useful on my phone and my iPad. And I'll just get right into it. So the one that I want to recommend is an app called Clear. It's from the folks at Real Mac Software. And what I love about this app is the ability to create to-do lists or reminders in a fun, just simple way. Looking at the app, and we'll have that on Facebook and Twitter, a link to that. When creating an app, it's very simple. They have a hierarchy of color schemes and a lot of swipes and gestures that make creating a simple list for the day so easy. Right now, it's on the App Store for the Mac, for the iPhone or iPod Touch. It is coming to iPad very soon. But I got to tell you, it's very helpful when I'm sitting at the breakfast table, planning out my day, able to tap, enter something in, tap again, rearrange, look at it by color scheme. It's very simple, very easy to use, and I believe it was free for a limited time a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it's still
Okay,
there.
I got a question for you. Like, why would you want to use this over the standard calendar or alarm that you could set for almost anything?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Well, first off, it doesn't really have an alarm or anything like that. All it has is just a badge that you can see on top of the app, and then when you go into it, you can see all the ones in front of you.
It's like on the bar on the iPhone, you can see that app is alarming you at some way, but it's not in your face about it. Is that
No,
right?
it's just a simple number. For anyone who owns an iPhone, they'll know that if you look at any of your apps, the square, you'll see a little red circle in the top right corner of the square, and it has a number in it. And that's
like
basically
if you have,
a badge.
3 new emails, it'll say
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's a minimalist type of app. So if you have 3 things taken care of that day, it'll show you that little 3 in the corner. And then when you look at it, you can simply, okay, I need to go to the grocery store. I'm done. I swipe to the right. It check marks it off. I'm done. I need to go to the comic book
funny
store.
about that is like you need an app to remind you that you need to go to a grocery store. I mean, that's kind of like an innate thing.
Well, I
where
mean,
you could
it's
be
nice to plan out your day.
All right, who's the corrector here? I think that was kind of just an example, all right? Okay. You need to kind of back off the man.
I'm just
Jeez
saying.
Louise.
Okay. All right, I'll
So-
give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure it's
I will
great.
say, so as an ex-iPhone user, yes, I said ex-iPhone. I actually moved from an iPhone to an Android. I know it doesn't happen a lot, but the swipeability and all those sorts of things, they've gotten pretty much down. I mean, it's very convenient to be able to move from thing to thing, and they have a very logical sense of how something is going to be used. I will say more than most Android apps. And the other thing about Apple that I kind of miss, even though I don't miss it as much because Android is a better product, or the Android that I have now, but it's in terms of just its functionality. The Apple is a better product in terms of its in terms of just how easy it is to use and how just user friendly it is overall, I would say.
It's like it's more designed for the masses and the children out there.
Yes.
But don't you think that's a topic for... I'm not even going to get into that. That's a topic for another day.
Well, I just want to say one more thing. It is going for 99 cents for the iPhone and iPod version, and it's $10 for the Mac version. And if you do have an iCloud account, they synchronize together very well. And check it out. I mean, go to the iTunes store. You'll look at all the reviews. It has 4.5 stars, which you hardly ever see. Usually you see random people out there just being haters.
Usually you only get that on Angry Birds.
Exactly. Angry Birds. Yes, that's a great comparison. It's very hard to find an app that's 4.5 stars or higher. So anyway, that's my recommendation.
So if people are having trouble organizing their days, or if they would like a little extra shoe in,
if they want a minimal way, an app that's simple, clean, and just plots out their day, rather than writing on a Post-it note and putting it in their pocket, clears the app for you.
I mean, I don't even remember where I put my shoes half of the time, so that would be good for that. Will it do that?
Find shoes.
Are you going to remember
as
to... Yeah, is that going to be a Siri thing? Siri, find my fucking shoes.
Find my shoes.
Hey, we're talking about a single app
They
here.
have an app
Don't
for
start
Find My
attacking
Phone.
Apple. I
No,
know you
I
want
know.
that. That'll be
We're not.
another show.
We're not attacking.
I know.
We like
Anyway.
we like to have fun here. And of course, we are drinking, so the discussions tend to get heated after a
A
little
little
while.
heated after a little dragon's blood.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, that was just my spiel.
You haven't seen that episode yet, have you? Where Daenerys just fucking eats the heart of a horse, and she's about to puke it up, and I'm about to puke it up as I've seen that. You've seen that, right?
Was that in
right,
season
Seventon?
1?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. She just eats this whole huge heart. Spoiler alert! Sorry, I forgot to say that. If you haven't seen season 1, but where have you been? Hiding under a rock?
Can you edit that out?
It's kind of like she ate her heart out.
Oh,
This
cheese!
man another drink.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
nothing's better than cheddar, right? Jesus.
Except Swiss.
Oh man. On to our next news topic. Take it away, R-Dub.
Yes, I am like I said, a mainstreamer, so I like to read all of the tech blogs out there, and this one comes from TheVerge.com, our folks at TheVerge.com. On their homepage right now, there is
It's about Google Glass, right?
It's about glass. That's what it is, yes, the famous glass.
Yeah, if you guys haven't heard anything about Google Glass out there, what this is a Google interface where you pretty much wear it like a pair of sunglasses, and you have a computer interface kind of HUD'd over your everyday life. It's kind of a computer on your face, so you can do something while somebody's talking to you, and they won't know the difference.
Corrector face computer.
I think I'm going to have to do the corrector's job here. Augmented reality. Is the official
wow, that's delicious.
terminology.
Yeah, that's actually a
I don't mean to
delicious
steal your
term.
thunder.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, at TheVerge.com, they talk about Google Glass. There have been several videos in the past couple of months, but this one depicts one of as we all know, the NBA draft is coming up, and one of the potential prospects from one of the colleges is wearing Google Glass throughout the whole draft process. So it's just another example of how... I'm sorry?
Why? Like, why
are they giving him the
Because you
glass?
need it in your face.
Who the glass? Who are they giving who the glass?
Well, think about this. This is the perfect marketing opportunity for Google to show off glass in another type of market. What market are we in right now? Now we're going over to sports.
Right, but why would they want to give somebody Google Glass in sports over something like a phone or a tablet or computer?
Well, this is showing, obviously, what we're talking about here is the augmented reality. You have the glasses that what they do is not only take pictures, but they actually take live video that you can then go and see live on one of the Google Hangouts. But to see a first-person view of a...
So they want athletes to wear this? Is that what you're saying?
I think he's saying they're paying for athletes to wear this.
It's just this one guy. It's not even...
One guy. During while he's playing?
His name is Victor Oladipo.
If they put it in his face, then it's in your face.
That's what she said.
They're trying to show off the first-person view of what it's like to be sitting in the green room, is what they call it, and waiting for your name to be called and see what potential team you're going to be playing for. That's, I guess, one way of
it's
seeing...
not really playing basketball. It's what team you're going to get paid.
Are you familiar with the draft, how a draft works?
Yeah, absolutely. But it sounds
because I kind of forgot that...
We're not talking about draft beer.
We're not talking about draft beer. We're not talking about anything,
Catching a draft.
God. Okay, as we drink, the cheese jokes will come out more and more and more. This is gonna happen. Get used to it.
Mostly from me.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
but what it sounds like is a game of dodgeball from like 8th grade, like on the court. What team you're gonna get drafted on?
You're gonna have to elaborate on that.
Well, because you get picked on each team, and it kind of goes around.
Oh yeah, well it kind of works like that.
So essentially, how it works is depending on how your team finished the prior year.
So what I'm getting at is on the draft, why would they want to give an athlete the Google Glass?
I think you're looking way too far into this. This is more of a marketing ploy for Google than anything. They want to show.
Go ahead. Ask why.
Help me out here, because I feel like I'm not getting anywhere.
The NBA as well as the NFL draft are two of the most widely watched sports spectacles by fans. Agreed. So they watch them all the time. Everybody is very obsessed with the NFL and NBA draft. They're not so much MLB, it's a whole different thing. But the NFL and NBA especially. And so when you see a player, everybody always wonders, what would it be like to be an NBA player that's being drafted by this team and being touted as such a high prospect and all this kind of stuff.
So
it's a fantasy.
This high-paid athlete hanging out in his house.
Yes.
Well,
he's not high paid yet. He hasn't made it yet. Oh,
okay.
He's a college kid. Yeah, he's a college kid.
Okay.
And so this college kid that's sitting
some
around
guy hanging out in his mansion being oh man, I got it on Spurs.
I mean, imagine this. You're this college kid hanging around, and all of a sudden you get a call from the Spurs, and the Spurs are like, the Spurs draft you in the number 1 round, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm going crazy.
So instead of having Steven Spielberg make a biopic,
$50 million.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And so everybody gets to live that because he's recording his entire process through Google Glass. And not only that, but then he gets up on screen. People see him wearing the product. It's like this super marketing, bam, right into it.
Because the way you get into professional sports is you start at the collegiate level. You play college sports, and then NFL, NBA, as well as MLB.
Will
look at your career
I get
in there.
Do you think Google's doing this because not a lot of people are kind of catching on to Google Glass, or they don't see the allure of it yet?
Let's look at the past here. When people have been covering these drafts, they've had websites that show it live, or there are a couple apps right now that you can download for your phone or Android to watch this type of feed. But I think to now see a actual video of the process in a first person view from a potential draft pick, it's just another way to be involved in the draft, to experience it, to
for those really
think about this too,
draft nerds out there.
Well, how many people would you say that our sports fans know about Google Glass besides the two of us sitting over here? Like, it's not a big thing amongst sports circles. I mean, I hate to categorize people, but there are those who follow sports, and there are those who know about technology. A lot of times, like, there are intersections with the two of us sitting over here, but there's also a lot of other people who don't know about that, and so they're like, "Whoa, what is this weird ass thing that this guy's wearing?" And then they'll inquire about it. I think it's brilliant.
I think it was when Google Glass finally was kind of commercialized and they put it out for the public to buy. One app that came out was if the viewers out here haven't heard about it.
It's not out yet. You can't buy it yet.
Oh, there's plenty of people have it.
Yeah, well, you know how they got that,
kits,
right?
But there's also apps that you can get out.
Sexual favors.
Speaking of sexual favors,
they ate a horse heart to get glass.
They went Daenerys Targaryen all over this. Oh man!
They had to write an essay to Google, and 5,000 people were chosen, and they got the glass first, and almost
but there are
like
people
beta.
making apps for it already.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah,
I could write an essay to Google.
And then you'd have to pay $5,000 for one.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's the that's the retail.
You have to write an essay just for the right to.
But listen, no, hang on a second here. It's still developers are making apps right now, and I think you're leading into the porn one.
Yeah, exactly. They did come out with a porn. If you haven't heard about this, look it up. It's really funny. They came out with a porn app that was online for an hour before it got pulled.
It's called Google Ass.
It's pretty much designed just for like a point of view session. It wasn't online for very long before Google was like, no, we're not going to allow anything like
Okay,
that.
listen, I know I said go to theverge.com. You can look at this NBA draft through the lens of Google Glass, but they actually did a great video documentary of Google Glass, hands-on, of them walking down the street, taking pictures.
Hands-on in what way?
Sexual hands-on. They caress
going to
that
the bathroom,
glass
wiping
across
their
their
ass.
face so
Number
smoothly.
2, recording everything.
Gosh, how many of those red blood drinks have you had?
I don't even know Dragon's blood.
Yeah, it's
Dragon's
Too much
blood.
thinking about ass.
So listen, for people who still are confused about glass, if you were to put these glasses on, there's no lenses on here whatsoever, okay? If you look at them. Well, there is, yes. It's up in the top right corner of your eye. So you still have your normal peripheral, but then you'll always see in the top right corner of your peripheral is a small rectangular viewing HUD that will usually have the time, can show you directions to and from, or in this case, what you were about to bring up, Kevin, some developer was coming up with a porn Google Glass app. And that's what I was also kind of wanting to tie into.
And that's quite a development.
It is. Not only... So, there's mixed reviews right now with Google Glass.
Right.
Yes, it's great to see a side of a sports phenomenon, going through the process of being drafted or walking down the street and recording a video. That's all great, but a lot of people are pointing to the bad parts here. Maybe, of course, the porn app when you're having a random conversation. Who knows if they're looking at...
How is that bad?
Yeah, how is that bad? Maybe you're having a boring conversation. You're like, I would rather be watching this.
So you're telling me if you were having a conversation like you and I right now, and if I was wearing Google Glass and constantly looking away, and possibly
I'd be like,
half chub during a conversation, you wouldn't be freaked out at all. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, yeah, but I would expect people to use it obviously respectively and know, hey, if you're in the middle of a conversation, you probably shouldn't be watching
know people?
Girl on Horse. right now. That's probably.
But that's what I'm trying to say is the fact that this brings up the other side of the controversy of glass.
About some guy hanging out in a Starbucks or something on, sitting there and just kind of zoning out, and all of a sudden he's got an erection because he's using this porn app.
Pretty much.
On Google Glass.
I don't want to go and get my caramel macchiato and see a guy in the corner looking off in the distance.
Excuse me, I would like a stiff drink.
Stiff dragon's blood, please.
Oh, man.
But you see what I'm trying to say here? I'm trying to say there's pros and cons to this glass right now. It's a new type of technology.
You cannot use that in public. I mean, obviously, if something like that happens, you're still going to be a sexual predator. You're going to be on that website, and you're going to have to go around to all your neighbors and say what you did in a Starbucks.
If you notice somebody drooling while wearing these, you should probably run.
Right.
And it's not even just the whole porn thing. What if I was to be talking to you in this conversation, and I was recording the video at the whole time? Invasion of privacy? That's exactly my point. Yes, it's awesome to see you walking down the street, looking at a player go through a draft, but it's also not cool to be recording a video when you didn't get the other person's consent.
I understand that side.
Without their consent, though, you could be like, I need you to take those Google Glasses off, or and anything that you were recording, whatever, because it's not going to hold up in court unless you did get consent in any sort of way. Because we all know if you don't get consent for anything as far as evidence goes, it's going to get thrown out no matter what. I don't know why you'd be taking my fat ass to court because fuck, man, I haven't done anything wrong to you. But
it's just another fine line. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. There's a lot of shenanigans there. Let's change the subject here abruptly.
Topic number 3.
Is that 3?
I think by the end
that's 4. Because we did.
Well, we kind of put in Google Glass and Apple. My app.
That's interesting because that's Android and Apple.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh. Topic number 3.
3.5. Let's go 3.5.
3.7.
If you want to go, topic number 4 for all you. All right. I'm surprised you're not
on the
getting on top of my case.
This corrector,
not correcting me.
I'm okay with it.
All right, Kevin.
All right, those drunk geeks, those sitting here with you here this evening, we did go see Superman. This is a huge summer blockbuster. Something like this has never really been attempted before. The last Superman movie was actually considered a sequel to one of the Christopher Reeves movie, so it wasn't a real reimagining of the origin or anything like that. This is a brand new Superman origin coming to Earth, finding himself, finding out who he is. We did go see it, and we have some thoughts on it. Overall, also, by the way, before we jump into anything else, spoiler alert. If you have not seen this movie, you need to stop listening right now.
Or drink more.
Or say, I never planned on seeing it. I'm just going to wait for it to come out, and I really want to hear what these drunk people have to say.
Or just be like, you know what, I'm just going to take their word for it. I'm not going to even see it at all because they do such an excellent job of describing it.
So let me just start off. Let me interrupt you really quick. Let me give you some information about Man of Steel. So far right now, I like to refer to RottenTomatoes.com for any type of movie reviews. I find it's very helpful when it comes to...
That's all user-based, right?
It is.
Yes.
It is. There's also a section above the users by official critics from known newspapers. But Rotten Tomatoes, they go by a percent system. They gave Man of Steel 56%. So that is basically
really low.
It is. They actually clarify that as a Rotten
really
Tomato.
Yeah.
I believe it's anything under. Anything under.
I wouldn't give it a 56%.
They call it the tomato meter. By the way.
So boys, what would you give it, Kev, as a percentage?
I would give it a solid B-.
Oh, so that's a good 80%?
Yeah, maybe 81, 82. I mean, I still feel like that's being a little generous, but for coming from somebody who loves comic books, I'm not hugely familiar with Superman, so I was really looking forward to it to kind of reintroduce the public and the masses into Superman on who he is. But what I did see a lot of online, again, spoiler alert, I'm about to talk about something that happens in the movie if you have not seen it. But you would mostly see this, hopefully, from a lot of superheroes. He does kill the main villain at the end of the movie, and as soon as that happened, the internet went into a huge uproar on who Superman is and how that's not his way or anything like that. But it was such a fucking badass scene anyway, like, no matter what. Like, he really... I think they portrayed it in the way where he didn't have a choice, and I think the internet just needs to eat it on this one. Like hardcore.
I'm sorry to interrupt, one more thing. I do have to clarify myself. The tomato meter from RottenTomatoes.com, that is actually of approved tomato meter critics who have given this movie a positive review. Actual audience gave it an 82%.
Oh, there you go. That's
so
your B minus.
The tomato meter is actually a list of
critics.
Official critics who are recognized by RottenTomatoes.com. So 56% by tomato meter. General audience gave it an 82%. Funny thing is, since it
really
came out,
interesting because that's just what I gave it right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's your B minus.
Since it came out June 14th, it's already grossed $210 million box office.
Well, no doubt when it came out that it would be a box office.
It was going to be huge because the producer is Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
And you know who the director is, right?
Is Zack Snyder, who worked on 300. He also
directed
worked on
300.
Yeah,
Didn't he?
He directed 300.
Okay.
He did The Watchmen as well. Both of which are amazing movies. And there's also a new trailer for the new 300 movie that came out as well.
That was in the Superman movie. The trailer
really
that
cool.
was so good.
Yeah, that actually.
I'm
looks
looking
really
forward to it.
It's interesting because the lady who's in Game of Thrones, who plays Cersei, is Leonidas' wife, and she's coming back, and she did this great, inspiring speech. But back on his Superman. Again, I mean, Christopher Nolan did this, so it's a much darker take on Superman. But there were some very cheese moments on this dark take of Superman that just made me laugh out loud in the movie theater and just throw up my hands and going, "Are you kidding me?" And I may have been a little intoxicated, but that's besides the point.
I think you bring up a good point about Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
About how he does the dark.
He takes
type
the
of
dark
movies.
side of it.
Well, look what happened with the Batman, the trilogy there. He made it dark, and then look how popular. So I think that's what they were trying to do here, saying how popular it would get this time if it was more
in
dark.
that series of what he did with Batman and how you can kind of because because they did so much more humanity within the Batman character, you can kind of relate to him and see why he did this, and it's a lot more believable. And then you can kind of feel why Superman did the things that he did within the movie, as far as because it's hard to when you have all those powers and you're kind of going around, you're like, I don't know what the fuck, I'm just like throwing shit everywhere because I got super strength and crap, and you don't know what to do with it at that point. You don't know who you are, you don't know where you came from, and then your fake dad tells you that you are from another planet. How do you take that? And
I feel like Batman is a darker story than Superman is. I mean. Yeah, well, I mean that's tough to say because he's from another planet.
See his parents get killed, and he's just kind of. But he has parents growing up,
right? But Batman takes like that whole. Yeah, he takes all that psychology. Like if you imagine who's more psychologically fucked up, is it going to be the guy from another planet that has a normal childhood, farm raised? Like all this kind of stuff, like all-American guy, or is it going to be a guy who is like sees his parents killed and just goes through all this trouble, but then finds out that he's destined for greater things? I mean, that's what I feel about Batman versus Superman. But the approach that I feel that he took to Superman, the trouble that I have with it is comparing it to all the other Supermans. Like the difficulty. Like what I wanted to talk about
that's exactly
most,
what I was looking forward to.
Most in this movie that I wanted to talk about was characters, because I feel that it was so character driven.
Exactly.
This was a movie that was based on the character of Superman. It was based on like Superman as like how actually his psychology would have been, and. I felt actually, and I hate to say because of how these actors are, but Russell Crowe and Kevin Costner were my two favorite characters. The characters that they portrayed in the film were my two favorite characters in the film. All the ladies that we went to see it, of course, Superman was their favorite character because they picked some hot-ass motherfucker for this thing.
He's all like ripped.
Tightest ass suit I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Of course.
I'm gonna pull this.
And he had his hairs coming out of the suit.
Yeah, man, he was
Looked like a freaking
bear.
Guido in a cape, I swear to God.
He was like, hey, I'm Superman. Hey.
Hey, how you doing, huh?
Hey. But they wrote the character like Kevin Costner's character, even though... Okay.
I really want to touch on this subject, actually, Kevin Costner. Again, spoiler alert, if you're still listening. Kevin Costner's character dies in the movie.
That's what I was just
which was fucking ridiculous.
Laughable.
It was absolutely laughable because... if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. Kevin Costner's character, like Superman's there with him, and they're arguing about, I should be doing something with my powers and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, a tornado comes down out of fucking nowhere. Superman could save everybody before anybody knew what the fuck was going on because he's supposedly faster than a speeding bullet, and he can move faster than the sound barrier, right? And he lets his fake dad run off to save the dog. Whereas, like, before, in the last scene before this, Superman, as, like, a teenager, saves, I don't know how many people in a falling bus. But this one character, I mean, he could care less about those characters right there. He just knows, the humans, I have to save them.
He couldn't care less.
I have the ability.
He couldn't care less.
He couldn't care less of them. Whereas Kevin Costner's character, he just goes ahead, lets him die, because Kevin Costner shakes his head, the character says no. But I would think that the Man of Steel would be too prideful to let his father just fucking die by like a fucking tornado. Are you kidding me? You can move faster than the sound barrier. You can go get him and bring him back, and nobody will notice the difference.
No, I was actually more concerned. Like, it less bothered me that the Superman character didn't save him than how they set up the Superman's dad character to go out and get the fucking dog in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Because Kevin Costner's character, to begin with, is a very reasonable, like, farm-driven man. How many men in your life, or in any life that you've ever seen in the face of this earth, would ever go out into a freaking tornado to save a dog?
Granted, it's supposedly
that
man's
is
best friend.
Man's best friend. If you are going to potentially die for... I mean, and not potentially. It was pretty much fucking guaranteed.
Yeah.
He runs into a storm to save the family dog. It's ridiculous.
And just for the fear of, like...
premise.
Revealing
Let's be honest. If the dog isn't smart enough to get out of the car in the first place, he shouldn't be alive.
Right. I think, they definitely could have written that scene a little bit better. But, I mean, another cheese line that I want to get into is when him and Lois Lane make out, and then after they pull apart, Lois Lane is like, you know what they say after the first kiss? It's all downhill from here. And you're just like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Right? You just broke that whole
Taken
scene.
from the pages of Cosmo itself.
Yeah, exactly. Right out of Cosmo. My God. That was so ridiculous. Like, I've never heard anything so funny. Like, and I was in this.
Yes, I've heard something so funny.
Yeah.
It was in the Star Wars #2 when
No, we're not going to that.
I know. I'm just saying it was very reminiscent of the lines in Star Wars when Hayden Christensen or Natalie Portman's looking out and she says how something's so beautiful, and Hayden Christensen literally gives the line of, or very close to, "Not as beautiful as you," which is a Star
Equally just as ridiculous.
Just as bad.
You know it will never add up to Empire Strikes Back and I love you. I know.
Well, that was a total improv line. That was a total
and
improv.
not only
And that's
was
my
that
that's my
improv,
ringtone, by the way, for my wife. I just want to point
your
that out.
wife. Oh,
No,
my
my
God.
text tone.
Oh,
Anytime
God.
she texts me, that's what happens.
It's not the imperial tone.
That's when she calls.
Okay.
When she
Okay.
texts,
Okay.
I get that.
All right, back on
Mine is just
Superman.
wah wah.
Back on Superman for the last cheese line I had of the movie. Yes.
Go ahead. One more thing about the whole Lois Lane all downhill from here. I
Yeah.
felt like that was the most comic booky, I guess you could call, line in that whole
But
movie.
what I was thinking is that it just completely broke the illusion what was going on at that particular moment. Like you had this.
I agree with you. That's why I'm saying it seems like you have this whole movie that was portraying. It was going dark and it was going very movie-ish. But then that one line kind of brought it down to a cheesy comic book, I think is what you're trying to say. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of comic books kind of stay in that serious level. And the only one I know to really break that is Spider-Man, because he just kind of berates on his villains till they go insane. And I think that's why
Tobey Maguire being an emo goth is by far the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Not even an emo Superman.
You can't go from Cider House Rules to Spider-Man and expect to get like.
Spider-Man
respect.
does not have jazz hands. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work.
Spider-Man does not have jazz hands.
Tobey Maguire,
Let's put that in quotes.
in eyeliner with jazz hands just does not make it for me.
Totally
Totally
Maguire
different
with
comic book.
abs doesn't make it for me.
The last cheese line that really bugged me in that movie was
Cheese line number 4.
cheese line number 4. Was when Superman he throws down the satellite down at the general's car, and you guys remember this part? Kind of near the end.
Refresh my memory.
He's you see the general that he's been talking to throughout the movie, and the female captain in the car, and he grabs the satellite that's been trying to spy on Superman.
The drone you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
And throws it down in front of his car, and the general gets out and he's like, "What the fuck you doing?
Don't follow me."
And he's like, I know
bitch.
you're trying to find my fortress of solitude, but bitch, please, this ain't gonna happen. And then he just flies.
Did he
away.
have a weave in his hair too and long fingernails?
And he had the curly cues coming out of his chest.
No, you didn't.
Didn't go friend. You see this S? That ain't no S, bitch. That's a fucking
So what
hoax
line
symbol.
are you talking about?
And then when he flies away, and then the general turns around to the captain. The captain is like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, she smiles and says,
The general's like, the fuck, bitch, what you smiling about? Would you be like,
says, what are you
"Nothing.
smiling about?
He's just really hot. And I was like, really? You had to throw that in there?
It's the Guido chest hair that pops through.
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you something about my mother.
Really-
Don't you talk about my
that's
mother
really what
that
she
way,
wrote
okay?
right there, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
There is one cheese line that I absolutely loved, and I don't know if it was
Cheese line number 5.
cheese and a half. I don't know if it was actually a cheese line, but it was like such a funny pun. I just I loved it. I tingled how much I loved this one, and it was at the end, which by the way, but we'll get into this after, but. He goes into the Daily Planet to get his job as a new reporter, working for the Daily Planet and stuff.
Clark Kent.
And he's the Daily Planet. And Morpheus is walking him around the office.
Lawrence Fishburne, come on.
No,
he's an
Morpheus.
actor.
That's his name.
Give
He's
the actor
Morpheus.
his due.
He's in the Matrix right now.
For God's sake.
Superman.
Oh, we have a new drink on the table here?
All right, we'll introduce this in a second. But he's walking around the Daily Planet, and Morpheus is like, show him around, blah, blah, blah. And Lois Lane comes up to him and is like, welcome to the planet. As in, because
I
she knows
remember that.
he's Superman and he's not from planet
Everyone
Earth.
else is too stupid to understand. Or too stupid to
Right.
recognize an
they were
alien
such
they've
a
been
long-
following for the past
Yeah,
couple
they were
days. Now just put on a pair of sunglasses and he's a completely
Not even
different
sunglasses,
person.
just regular glasses. You can see his eyes and he's exactly the same haircut and everything.
God.
My God. And okay.
I agree with you on that one.
That one I liked, though.
It was a little funny. It was
I liked that. That was
I
like,
did.
Yeah, that was the only part.
No, that's what I'm
that
saying. I liked it, and I was like, that was the
there
one
was such a
type
long
of
pause
cheesy.
where I could, in the movie, I could be like, I see what you did there. Okay. I like it. I see what you did.
It almost has to be if you have a cheesy line, save it for the end. Make it funny, make it a quick little one-liner, and then just peace out. Throughout the movie, stay consistent with the darkness. Instead of this cosmopolitan magazine, all downhill, drop my panties when
Now,
you just, lift me up into the
next
sky.
point I wanted to actually get on was when he was going into the Daily Planet and looking for a new job. Did we all just forget all the damage that he just caused throughout Metropolitan?
I did not see any of the damage out of the Daily Planet window.
Okay, now
That had to have been in the trillions.
No,
by the
I
way.
actually pulled up the numbers on this. IGN.com did a little infographic on how much damage he actually did while he was fighting off these aliens who came down to the Earth. Now I'm gonna read it here. Some $700 billion in physical damage would have been done to the city. Cleanup, economic impact, and other costs would eventually bring that number into the trillions. To give the numbers some real-world context, one of the worst events in U.S. history, the 9/11 attacks, cost $55 billion in damage. And Superman caused $700 billion of damage, upwards of the trillions after the economic impact.
Well, what would you really rather have though? Destroyed Earth or saved for multiple trillion
and that's
dollars?
the other thing is that everyone is freaking out that Superman killed General Zod at the end. But how many people got injured and damaged in between this whole fight between everybody?
Not even injured, killed. Zod
exactly.
killed. Okay.
Like thousands of... It had to be at least tens of thousands of people.
I am a firm believer in a life for a life, all right?
Yeah, really?
Like, if you take 1 million lives, which at least, if you figure a city like Metropolis...
I think I agree with you on this one, yeah.
have been 1 million lives probably taken by what... Because all that...
how many skyscrapers fell in the midst of this movie?
That had to be that had to be in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions,
Absolutely.
people. So the justification for Superman was okay. If a cop goes out and a cop kills somebody that was going to be firing on them, which obviously Zod had the intention of killing Superman.
Right.
So this intention
No,
to
actually,
kill
his
Superman,
original intention was for him to join him.
That's true. His original intention, but obviously, what if a burglar came up and said, "Hey, cop, will you join me?" And the cop was like, "No, I'm not going to join you. I'm a cop." And then the burglar was like, "Okay, I'm going to kill you then." I mean, that's kind of the same thing, right?
I guess, but I think the way they developed the Zod character, he kind of... I think if Superman ever submitted to him and said, "Okay, that's fine, I see your reasoning," I think Zod wouldn't have killed him at one point. But I agree with you, though. I agree that how many deaths got caused should have deemed worthy Zod's death, and I don't understand the uproar on why people are so frustrated with Superman killing somebody.
I want to go back to the damage. Is it too late to go back?
No,
to
let's go back to the damage.
Well, you guys are hashing it out over here. We all saw the Avengers. That's by far my favorite.
Yeah, how much damage did they
superhero
cause?
movie. Well, I brought that up while you guys were talking.
$5.
And Burger King toys.
$60.
Hulk smash.
They estimated that the damage caused in the Avengers movie was $160 billion, and you're saying
$700 billion.
There was
700.
so much more damage in Superman.
Yeah,
It's so much more. Because every building that was crushed, I was like...
right.
like, oh my god,
Yeah.
There's more people dying.
That was a pretty big jackhammer in the sky going nuts on that city.
I know.
Right.
That was my sound
Whereas
effect
Avengers was really just...
It was
Yes.
very
That was a good
central
one, by the way.
located because of the where all the bad guys were coming out of.
It was very much the J.J. Abrams. Boom, beep, boom. Very
Right.
much.
Yeah, that
Without
was,
being
that was
J.J.
there.
Abrams.
Yet the Avengers did so much more box office than Man
Well, I
of
think
Steel.
that's because they really built up into that though too. Whereas Man of Steel only had a single movie, to kind of build off of to create a film base off of. Whereas
Yeah.
the Avengers, you're looking at multiple movies building up into a team up movie, which is what they're supposed to be doing with this Superman movie. But
So wait, what was your overall rating of
my
Superman?
overall, I really enjoyed Superman. I thought it was great, and I thought it was a great retelling of the origin and the creation of Superman. There were some things, obviously, I did not like, which we touched on earlier. But I think overall it was very entertaining, and I think the sequel, obviously, there's going to be a sequel. We'll do a lot better on the telling of Superman. And the reason why I like this one more is because the last one, they really built off of a character that was already created in a different time frame. This is a lot more modern Superman, which more people can relate to because of the way that they developed the character.
For the humanity of characters, like the character aspect of Superman alone, I would give it a 9. I mean, it was really awesome.
Out of
just
10?
9 out of 10 for just the characters they built. Like, the
Right.
characters were very deep. Each one was a very round character.
Actually, the only character I didn't really find deep was Lois
Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. And I love, what's her face?
Morpheus?
What's her face? Morpheus, yes.
Actually, one of my favorite villains I've ever seen in any movie that was shown in this movie was General Zod's second in command.
Oh, yeah, she was awesome.
His admiral
Yeah.
woman. She was there needs to be cooler side villains to the main villain, I think, like that, to really create an amazing villain.
So you gave it a what? An 8.5?
I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
You gave it a 9.
No, I said for characters. For characters, I would give it a 9.
I want to know, what's your overall? You gave it an 8.5.
My overall would probably be an 8.
I'm gonna be the only one here who gives it lower than an 8. I gave it a 7. I mean, the only thing that really held it together was the cinematography and the CGI.
But that's what made it fun. That's why I think I gave it a higher score than what I normally would, is because it's a fun movie.
And the darkness kind of held up to, kind of really... made it into a good movie, but what kind of threw me back.
Amy Adams. That's who I was
yes, what threw me back was the fact that
Adams?
No, it was the cheesy one-liners,
right?
And I did not like the beginning part where, here's another spoiler alert, they didn't really go into much of when he made contact when he came to Earth. They just showed like a few little things, and that was pretty much it.
You don't need to see that.
Well, I kind of wanted more of the interaction with mom and dad and see what I don't know.
You wanted to see what...
Well, Small World was totally like a different...
That's an absolute different universe.
I give it a 7. That's my vote.
Okay,
7.
I can see that.
7 out of 10.
And actually, kind of touching base on the one-liners, I'm going to go back to it just to an 8 instead of an 8.5. I mean, I'd go to an 8.5 if those cheese lines weren't there, but those cheese lines, every time I think about them...
No, I would give it an 8.5 if Lois Lane wasn't there as a character. Or if she was a better character.
Just wrote her better, or
yes,
changed
exactly.
those lines.
Because, again, Amy Adams, Trouble with the Curve, she was great in that.
Great movie.
And she's hot.
And it's
so
really hard for me
to...
Talladega Nights.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ricky Bobby is a thinker.
He's a driver. And I always go back...
just saying.
I always go back to the Muppets with her, too. Every time
the Muppets. Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, as always, we want to know what you all think out there about what we talked about here tonight. If you made our drinks of what we brought up, or, if you didn't, if you just got a drink anyway, send us a pic. Whatever it is that you're enjoying, what is your tasty beverage for the evening? Tweet us at Those Drunk Geeks. Send us your pics on Facebook, either or. We're at facebook.com /Those Drunk Geeks. Twitter at Those Drunk Geeks. As always, please drink responsibly. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. I'm Kevin Mangus, signing off.
Jay Steffington here, signing off.
R-Dub, also signing off. Good night.
Oh, God.
Good night, everybody.
RW. What are we going to do with you?
Nothing. We're going to do nothing.
Rate that outro as a 7.2.
I'd give yours a 3.